All right, everybody. Hello, and kind of welcome back. I don't know if anyone's left at this point, but here we are with some more Mania 7 Key World Cup 2026 action. We have another round of 16 matchup, a winners bracket matchup this time. It's going to be our number one seeded South Korea versus the number 17 seeded Canada after a short break there. I am Toph Daddy, one of your commentators for this match, joined once again by Nightcore. How's it going?
I am doing pretty good after looking at these two previous matches and looking at this behemoth matchup today for this hour is going to be South Korea versus Canada. I don't think either of these teams need an explanation. South Korea being victorious in every MWC excluding 2016-2023. Canada also being a really strong team in their own regard, being extremely well balanced, especially seeing their performance last week as well. So this is going to be a very good matchup, I would say, for today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be one of those interesting matchups where I think it's hard to bet against South Korea in any reasonable way, just because of their history with the 7 Key World Cup and just how good their players are in general. But like you said, Canada is quite a well-rounded team and has some very strong accuracy players. So I would not be surprised, especially with as low difficulty as this pool is, to see Canada really put some pedal to the metal and give South Korea a run for their money on quite a few of these picks.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, though, what do Canada jump into? Like, okay, looking at this now, South Korea do win a roll off, and they are going to be going into. Honestly, they could just go into anything what they're feeling comfortable with, to be honest. And it is going to be Hybrid 2. So, going to be our, I do believe, fast hybrid.
I've never actually seen this hybrid get protected, but I actually don't know if I've ever seen any of the hybrids get protected by any teams. But one of the things that I think is important to note is that when you're talking about high seeds versus mid seeds, one of the common strategies you see is for the higher seeds to stick around that hybrid blue area, because the mid seeds, and I don't know if this is necessarily true for Canada, but as the seeds get lower and the skill ceiling gets lower, it gets harder and harder to field a squad for these hybrids or feel confident in it. And I think that's kind of where South Korea is going to be pushing themselves, where they should be able to get two people in for every single hybrid, whereas Canada might struggle to have full combos on everything. So makes sense to see that come out as Protect in Canada, sticking with the low variance, low volatility rice picks as their selections, banking on their accuracy and potentially taking over for South Korea's mistakes. This is just about what you'd expect every time.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a really good analysis that I would say you'd definitely taken into account. And alright, looks like South Korea going to be banning Red 5, but I'll take out the equation, and Canada going to be able to ban LN1, which does make sense, but that kind of does open up a weakness maybe to LN2 if they're not too confident on it. But now, South Korea jumping into their first pick, and maybe after Hybrid 2, they might be thinking of jumping into one of the other hybrids as well.
Yeah, I could absolutely see EX3 coming out as an early pick. But no, they're actually going to go for the Jack pick. They're going to go for Rice 4. That is a scary pick to go for. And I know South Korea had just an unbelievable score on the Jack pick last weekend. I don't know if I would feel confident as a pick going into this that you're going to get the points on it more so than any of the hybrids in the pool.
This is a very scary first pick, let me just say that.
I would 100% expect to see this pick come out from Canada. South Korea, not so much. And I know I'm going to eat my words by the end of this. South Korea is going to have 10 300s total. But it's one of those picks where singular mistakes are going to be devastating, especially against a team like Canada, who have just absolutely insane accuracy players.
Absolutely. There's two things you have to focus on. First half going to be more anchor focused, and then when you get to the back half, the density is going to rile up a bit. So if you can kind of get into that transition well, you could get some insane 300 counts. I do believe the record is 10. I think it's tied between Logan and Ozzy-chan. I don't know how to say their
That
name,
would not.
unfortunately.
That would surprise. I did see the Logan one, so I know that one happened. I didn't see any of the others.
Okay, so Dress Surf and Mr. Mu are out the 1 mil equation. And Calco. So will
It's just
Dale get to
Dale.
1 mil?
It's just Dale left. All eyes on Dale, and actually a few early 300s in the slower section from Calcutta. But once this gets more content, I imagine that's going to start changing, and
Okay,
everyone's accuracy is just starting to build up now.
here we are. Even finding a flurry of normal 300s. Can already decide. And I think this is probably going to be the most likely pick where Canada can definitely take a breakpoint off South Korea. And you can already see the anchors reigning in. Mr. Moo's a bit less stable compared to the other 3 players, but I think if they could still hold on to the combo, I think they should be okay.
Yeah, they make it through the major difficult combo section with those long anchors. There's still a few long jacks here, but these are a lot easier to get through. And we actually saw a little bit of an accuracy drop from Dresser as well, so that lead is even smaller than it is, with Dale actually leading the lobby in accuracy right now, and that's only 740 points right now as we get into the sending section.
Goddamn Dale, oh my
There's
god.
a reason I said this was scary.
This is like South Korea just taking this off the bat, bro. It's just already throwing up the climax by 100, but the score's barely shifting. Even at 200 at this point could just swish it back over to Canada as the density just riles up for the second half. I think they're actually slightly decreasing on the side of Mr. Mudo, but again, anything can still happen. Every single note counts. And with the outro,
Oh,
Dale is gonna find out
Dale!
this!
Oh, what a tragedy there. That actually would have
Yeah,
gotten MVP without that miss.
yikes. 31. That is heartbreaking.
Yeah,
But
all things considered, though, that was very approachable as a score from South Korea. It was an extremely risky pick from them that just happened to work out, I think. That's
even with
really scary.
that was a very scary pick, but I guess it paid off for South Korea. Now, what's the best 300 count we have seen this week? But it was close. Very, very
It,
close.
it was pretty close, and we had 2 players get in there, so it's not a bad performance by the players here in this lobby. But South Korea going to take their first point in the match, avoid giving up a break point early, and Canada has the pick of the litter. They have 4 rice picks available if they want to go through those as their primary picks. Could definitely see them wanting to go with something like Rice 2 if they feel that accuracy side is going to support them. Could also see Rice 3 just coming out because of the same thing. It's one of those situations where I think Canada's accuracy is more than capable of keeping up with South Korea to the point where if mistakes happen, South Korea can absolutely lose the lead from those.
Absolutely. And now what I'm trying to think of, what is Canada going to jump into? Now they do have Rice Free protected, but I don't think Rice Free should be put in yet until maybe the other Rice picks have been exhausted, just so you have more of that leeway. And it's going to be Rice 2 they're going to jump into. Surprisingly, I haven't seen this map a lot on the Sunday matches. It's usually banned or just not picked at all.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprising jump in difficulty almost. The density really jumped up, and that BPM going up 20 BPM is quite the jump from round of 32. So I think it's just been a little bit more difficult than maybe expected. And it's also one of those maps where accuracy is really important, and single mistakes are going to give up full lead just because I think most teams are able to field a set of players who can get very strong accuracy on maps like this.
There's definitely a lot you have to watch out for. Like, you do have a lot of those brackets. It is going to be the dense chord stream compared to something like Rice Free. I would see why Canada picked this, as it does correlate with Rice Free a bit, but just more on the density side instead of the speed side. But again, this map is pretty long at 2 minutes 30 seconds for round of 32. I mean, round of 16 standard. So that one I also have to take into account. But if Canada are confident on this, they can definitely take that point.
They absolutely can. Opening patterns do not treat Canada as well as they treat South Korea. Accuracy definitely starting off on the right foot for South Korea there, though. No major mistakes will allow Canada to at least keep this very close coming out of the intro. Though that was a couple of 200s from Mr. Moo, and that'll be enough for South Korea to establish a more noticeable lead.
Especially now, just coming off from the intro. We are still in the first quarter though, so the stamina hasn't really taken a toll on any of our players yet. So again, as I was saying, if Canada can keep on to their consistency for these brackets and some of these chords, then they have that chance to get their point. But that accuracy on South Korea is just something else.
Yeah, I always get surprised at how good South Korea is at these core stream picks. 99.93 should be illegal at this point, especially having two players who can do that.
That demand is just insane. But even looking at the side of Canada, okay, here we are, heading into the halfway point where the brackets do get heavier. Mr. Moo's going to be the first one to find a miss. It's only going to be increasing the score gap. Definitely struggling a bit more on the heavier chord area, but I think if Dale can still hold on, then they should be okay. But just looking at South Korea, taking very...
Canada's not too bad right now at all. They have the one miss from Mr. Moo, which was unfortunate, but South Korea, with the insane accuracy, is able to use those small differences and extend just about a 30,000 point lead, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely. Like, even, like, I'm just very impressed with how all these players are still holding on. Even looking at Dale on 990k pace, but as we do get into the ending, I think it is safe to say that South Korea do have this comfy lead to take this breakpoint.
Yeah, definitely seems pretty comfortable for them. Going into the ending patterns, it would take a catastrophic ending for South Korea to give any of this lead up. But unfortunately for Canada, no misses come out, and that's going to be a double as from South Korea. I don't know how you beat that. Like, what do you do?
You don't. You just don't. That's essentially it. You just don't. Free the difference of their 300 count is the same as Dale's 200 count. Free. There's a lot
300 count. Yeah, and South Korea ready with their pick. They're going to go with EX3. So this is something I expected them to pick before. I thought this was going to be their first pick, especially after protecting Hybrid 2. But it makes sense for them to come back to this, especially with how close Rice 4 was. Probably want to avoid that for now.
Oh yeah, and I just, oh my god, are they jumping into? Are they seriously just jumping into EX3 after that?
Yeah. Hardest map in the regular pool. Second hardest map in the pool total, just barring tiebreaker. And I think that bodes well for South Korea, especially if they're feeling comfortable on the hybrids. It's kind of a brutal pick in general, though.
I mean, I totally get this pick on the side of South Korea. You know, if they're able to be comfortable MWC finalists and even pick a podium a few times, you know they're very comfortable on mid-game, late-game maps as well.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where South Korea wouldn't be where they are if they weren't balanced and well-rounded as a team, as a unit in general, as they always have been. And this year, we're gonna get to see that yet again with them trying their hand at the Hybrid 3, the hardest map in the pool, and just showing off their strengths and ability to get into these later rounds if they're able to perform well on it. Canada, though, has something to say about that. Coming through the intro, we have pretty easy patterns for the most part, but Mr. Mu is going to be caught out by one of those opening bursts and give South Korea an immediate lead.
And even looking off the intro already, like South Korea definitely do have that notable advantage. YZ and Heije is also going to be making their debut into this match, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see how they perform as well. Will they be able to take down Canada? Mr. Mu going to be finding another drop right before we head into the build-up. But there's still a lot of map left. Again, this is 3 minutes 45, the longest pick of the pool excluding the tiebreaker, if I do believe.
I think that's right. That one, or EX2 gives it a run for its money, but it's pretty close one way or the other. And Dale actually going to find a break on the side of Canada as well. That's going to be both full combos now gone for Dale and Mr. Mu, while Han Jae-hun and YZ both holding very strong right now, both on full combos. And YZ now above 99.8, bringing both of the South Korean players above that accuracy margin, and just an absolutely insane start by these players.
I think the fact that everyone is still holding on, even though Dale did find that miss, everyone just holding on to the hybrid area where you just have to coordinate a lot. Dale is kind of trying to give up the combo here, which he is going to go down to Mr. Mu's accuracy. But outside of that, South Korea is still holding on to that full combo. We do get a pretty hefty break in the middle, so there's some time to regain your stamina and your composure, I guess.
Yeah, so a little bit of a break. Dale's going to be able to build up to that 400 combo and a little bit of a coordination section or release LN section, but it is slow. Should be more than doable for them to keep themselves on it. But still, 2 full combos from South Korea right now, just absolutely showing their strength. Dale's going to find another break in this build-up section here. And Mr. Mu, despite having a little bit of struggles early on, was able to recover that combo very well, but it won't matter if South Korea doesn't give them an inch to take any advantage out of it.
They are pretty much closing all doors for Canada to make a potential comeback in here. But now as we get into the final quarter, getting a lot more of that stamina, jumping chord stream aspects into the ending. We're seeing a couple of DLNs as well scattered in. Everyone is just holding on very well in this ending. Mr. Mu's gone back up to 3,000 combo as well, kind of regetting that composure from the start. But as the density does start to kick in a bit, Mr. Mu is going to be the first one to find that drop. If anyone else will follow, slight accuracy drop as well on the side of South Korea, but on a section like this, it is to be expected, I guess. Dale going to be finding that drop as well.
The density of the logos in this section is just absurd. Definitely the hardest part of the chart, so it's not surprising to see those drops and the accuracy drops from South Korea, but they are going to pull off a double full combo on this, and as I said, it makes sense for South Korea to want to go for the more difficult maps in this pool, and that should show why they are comfortable with that kind of thing.
Holy. Very impressive scores from everyone. 3 and 6 200s respectively from South Korea. And even down the side of Canada, pretty good scores as well, both managing to get that 99 as well, above 950k. Really good scores, but against South Korea, it's very much a David versus Goliath situation.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Canada performing extremely well. They beat a lot of teams on this. If it wasn't South Korea they were up against right now, but they are definitely staring at a wall and trying to climb over what seems like an impossible task right now.
And it looks like they're going to be jumping into the Protect Rice Free. Actually, shouldn't this be where one of the bands? I'm not too sure, but
nope, not yet. After this pick will be the second ban phase.
Okay. So this is before the second ban phase. Going to be jumping into their Protect. If I was in Canada's situation, I probably would have been obliged to pick this maybe after.
Yeah,
after
I think
the second ban phase.
Yeah, because if Canada picked something that they didn't that they didn't protect, they have the opportunity to go into something that they think South Korea would ban in the second ban phase and potentially put them in a little bit less comfortable position with that ban. But in this case, Canada is going to go with that protect and leave a few things open for South Korea potentially to want to get rid of in that second ban phase.
So it looks like Calicut is going to be making their appearance for Rise 3. But as I was saying earlier, picking your Protect here, all it takes is South Korea to go for a Rise 1 ban, and what do Canada pick then? That is a question I'm kind of asking.
EX1?
Potentially.
LN3?
But do you really want to pick EX against South Korea? That is the question.
You never know.
Maybe.
Oh, whoa! One way or another, but getting into this, we did see an early miss from Kalkai, but that was traded very quickly by Mr. Moo. Dale showing off some extremely strong accuracy, though, and keeping that lead from getting too big, and Kalkai finding a second break is going to give Canada their first solid lead of the match.
This may be where the stars start to align for the side of Canada. The first main Ki gone out the way, and he actually has been the highest, I do believe, on the side of Canada, excluding Rise 4, but will they be able to hold on? Mr. Moo finding a drop, which is only going to be sending the lead back over towards the side of South Korea. Kalkai definitely recovering from their scars earlier as well, but look at this performance from Dale, just not showing a single sign of faltering, definitely having that flow. Can't really say the same for Mr. Moo, unfortunately, finding a few of those drops, but still that 99.41, it just really isn't going to be enough to catch up with the rest of the people.
Yeah, and South Korea earlier on was actually also having a little bit more struggles with the accuracy side of this map. And on top of those misses from Kalkai were enough for Canada to take over. But now that they've sort of recovered, especially on the accuracy side, that lead has skyrocketed. It's now just about 15,000 points, despite Dale putting on a great performance. South Korea's accuracy is just too strong, and the recovered combo from Kalkai is enough to hold it on their own through this ending section as long as they don't find any more breaks.
We will have to see getting into the ending, and that's going to be it. South Korea are going to be taking their second break point, but Dale, you have to be proud of that score. Just taking up a rivalry against South Korea and
Does get
almost
the
taking
double
MVP.
as YZ having a couple of accuracy drops, but YZ is going to be taking that MVP, and that ratio from Kalkai is a little bit insane despite the two misses. So it's still just really good performances across the board.
Just pretty much playing everything like Kojak at this point. But now we are getting into our second ban phase, and so Canada are going to be rolling a 70, so that 30% chance is going to be blown into water, I guess, and South Korea are going to be rolling that 91. So as I was saying, now all it does take for South Korea is to ban Rice 1, and Canada don't really have anything else to go for on the Rice, so they do have to kind of throw more on those risks, unless they do want to go into EX1, I guess, if they want to play Never Rice.
Yeah, I would expect that Rice one to come out as the second ban from South Korea. And for Canada, they have the opportunity just to get rid of LN2 if they want to. Oh, but South Korea actually going to ban EX2. That's a surprise.
I think... Well, I think if this was a lot closer, I probably would be questioning why EX2 maybe would be banned, but I'm actually kind of curious on that, to be honest. Maybe they're just not comfortable with it, that's my guess.
Yeah, it's possible that there's a little bit of discomfort, but there's also the possibility that South Korea is just respecting Mr. Moo's capabilities of getting a really good score on that type of long no pick and just don't want to chance that kind of thing, especially with how easy it is to miss in general on EX2.
And it does look like LN3 is going to be out the water for this map. For this match, I mean. But now, South Korea do have that potential to close it off, and what are they going to be going for? And
they're actually going to go with EX1. That's interesting.
Okay, so we pretty much just had a full right matchup beside EX3, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. And I guess South Korea not showing their hand with the long notes and most of the hybrids, outside of that EX3 where they had the double hull combo. Assuming South Korea does win this, I expected this to be one of Canada's picks anyways, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them be able to perform well on this.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you. I think this can still go either way, but Canada have to keep their consistency up, especially with the likes of Mr. Moo as well. We have seen in previous race picks dropping some fairly occasional misses, which, when you're facing South Korea, then, finding a miss is like tripping in a race, essentially.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting situations too, where I think Mr. Moot in general has been struggling on the accuracy side, mostly when it comes to the very dense sections of the map. We saw that in the two court stream picks that we saw with Mr. Moot falling a little bit behind when Rice 3 got denser towards the end. And then Rise 2 struggling a little bit with accuracy in general, with just because it's pretty constant with the density. But despite this being a little bit more difficult and having a lot of mixed kind of Rise patterns, I don't think it gets quite as dense as some of the other Rise maps in the pool, despite the difficulty. So I think Mr. Moon actually might be a little bit more comfortable on this than he would have been on those other Rise picks, potentially.
Yeah, I can really see that. On this, there's not really anything this map does to kind of throw you off. It's just kind of difficult for the sake of being difficult. There's a couple of tech areas though that you might have to watch out for, but everyone getting through that intro with a full combo already shows pretty good signs of life.
Yeah, the accuracy from South Korea, as usual, is just insane, but Dale keeping up very well, and Mr. Moon not too far behind, keeping this well within range that mistakes could definitely send this over Canada's way. But Dale is going to be the one finding the first break in the match, and South Korea going to feel very comfortable with a lead here.
And that was actually going to be both full combos gone on the side of Mr. Moo and Dale on the side of Team Canada, which is going to be kind of raising the red flag a bit. But Kalkai does find a miss, but it is definitely a lot cleaner compared to the other two on Canada. And as the stream still rile up, and as we do get more into the tech area, we might see some things change. Will people get thrown off? Dale definitely does. But I think Mr. Moo could still hold on, even though they are losing quite a bit of accuracy, starting to hit a bit late.
Yeah, definitely starting to have some troubles with this tech section. Dresser, the only one with the full combo. Kalkai and Mr. Moo able to recover their combos very well. But halfway through the map into this break section, South Korea with a 25,000 point lead off the back of the accuracies and the full combo from Dresser.
So holding on just to that full combo of Dresser, holding on to that 99.8 at this point in the map is going to be a pretty big wall for Canada to try overcome. Mr. Moo does find another drop. Score lead of 31,000 right now, heading into the final third, where the port stream does get a lot heavier, and the density still rises up as well. So, gonna have to see how both teams do go. Mr. Moo does actually drop underneath the 99 as well, which is also kind of a red flag to look out for. I think at this point, Canada might need a miracle if they do want to make that comeback.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like they are running out of time. That chance is getting further and further away. We do still have a quarter of the map left, so there could still be some major mistakes, but a lot would have to happen to South Korea here for them to give up this point, especially with just the one miss from Kalkai so far and the absolutely insane accuracy from both of the players.
They're just holding on very well. Kalkai finding that drop, but I don't think it really matters at this point, unfortunately. I don't think it matters at this point. Heading into the outro, Dresser still going to be holding on to that full combo. Very impressive combo as well on the side of Dale and Mr. Moo as well. But unfortunately, with the accuracy being much lower compared to South Korea, it's unfortunately not going to be making a difference. And I think it is safe to say that, unless there's a disconnect at the end, South Korea have secured their place into the winners bracket quarterfinals, getting a 5-0 victory, but on the side of Canada, putting up a very impressive performance as well.
Yeah, definitely. Really good performance from Canada. Despite the sweep, I think this actually looks a lot further away than it was in a lot of these matches. Especially you saw that Rice 4 being very, very close between the two teams. But with that, South Korea is going to move on in the winners bracket to face the United States in quarterfinals. So South Korea, United States, a classic matchup at least for 4K, but a little less common in the 7K World Cup. So it'll be exciting to see that come through next weekend. And Canada, luckily, we don't have to worry about them going anywhere because they will be in. They would just be knocked down into the losers bracket for the quarterfinals. And I am checking who they will face. It looks like they will face Vietnam to try their hand at making it into the semifinals, or at least the first match of quarterfinals before they try to make it into semifinals. But that is going to be an interesting matchup, and I would be very scared of Canada in that losers bracket if I was in the way of their path to semis.
Yeah, I would say now the losers bracket is full of really strong teams right now, and it's really scary to see all the teams down there to duke it off in the quarterfinals next week, especially now that we have conditionals. It's going to be our busiest week as well. So now for the round of 16 in the present, we only have one more match, and that is going to be Brazil versus Portugal, and that's going to be in 2 hours and 28 minutes. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Last match of the weekend, plus one more stream after that, which is going to be the quarterfinals map pool showcase. You are not going to want to miss it. So make sure you tune back in 2.5 hours for Brazil versus Portugal and the end of our round of 16 weekend. We'll see you guys there.
Yep, take care.